Namaste, my friends, and thank you for joining me here again. We are going to be practicing today a few stretches for our shoulders and our chest. So just a short and sweet practice today to open up this area of essentially the heart. So we sometimes think about just the chest as opening the heart space, but also we want to really open up into the side body and into the back of the heart as well. That is all encompassing where we hold tension and where we get knotted and tight. If we think about the heart strings, if you've ever had necklaces stored in a jewelry box or just string of wires stored somewhere in a container, they can get quite tangled and entwined and really difficult to free and loosen. And I often think about that when dealing with tension, maybe even around this heart space, if perhaps there has been a few knots that have accumulated over time. And it feels really good and liberating when we just open up that space, like untangling that mess of the heartstrings. So we're going to need a couple of things for this practice. We are going to need a strap or a band of some sort. Now, being that we're practicing at home, you can just get creative. This is literally the strap from my dressing gown. If you have a yoga strap, use that. A scarf does wonders, a blanket, anything that you have. Also have some pillows or cushions. If you don't have thick cushions like this, you can even get like a nice thick blanket. Maybe 2 of those would be preferable for something we're going to do later on. But just have something that you can use to elevate you and something that's comfortable. Okay, and I would like us to start seated. So you can just move your props out of the way for a moment. Have your band nearby. We'll use that to begin with. And just sit in a comfortable position. And I invite you to close your eyes so that we can tune into this space. And it might even be of benefit to take the hands over the heart, over the energetic heart space, which is in the center of the chest. And as you connect down to your roots, to your sit bones, to everything that's grounding you, feel the energy rise up from the roots into the heart, the chest. Feel the breath rising up from the base of the lungs as you breathe into the belly, all the way into the heart. Taking that full yogic breath. And just noticing as you tune in, is there any tension? Are you holding on to any stiffness? Do we feel any knots anywhere knotted in our body? Maybe even just starting to feel into the body, maybe the neck or the shoulders. Finding that breath beneath your hands, the chest expanding with each inhale. Are there any energetic, emotional knots in the heart today? Perhaps holding on to something, unable to let go, to release, to forgive ourselves or others. And before we begin movement, is it possible to invite a more loving kindness quality into your being? And as you feel the breath expand into the heart space, can you feel that loving kindness quality expanding into your being through the breath? And can you feel your being filling with compassion, with the warmth of love that invites the body to soften a little more. That invites us to unarmor ourselves, to slowly take the walls down that we may have built, to take off the burden of carrying those heavy shields. And to move into that more fluid and spacious and liberating space that love opens us to. This more peaceful, joyous space. Let's take one more breath here into this heart space, even into the back of the heart, the sides of the heart. And a big sigh as you exhale. And slowly open your eyes and release your hands. And we're going to grab hold of that strap, belt, whatever you have. And we're going to take our hands quite wide. And as we breathe in, take the arms up and over our head. Good. And I would like you just to tug on that strap and feel how that opens the shoulders, and feel the shoulders drawing down. Big expansiveness in the chest, and breathe into that. And then as you exhale, take the arms all the way back. Good. And then inhale, take the arms all the way up. And exhale all the way down. Now, if you really struggled and you were fighting with that, just take your hands wider. Inhale, take the arms up. And exhale, take the arms back. Inhale, take the arms up. And exhale all the way down. Let's add a little side bend now. So inhale, take the arms up. Gentle tug, and then side bending over to the right side. Let the right hand slide down towards the floor, and the left arm is pulling that strap upwards to the sky. Open the chest, even pull the chest slightly forward and through. Maybe you can look up, opening the side of that heart. Stay heavy into that left hip, breathing all the way into that space in the side body. And then inhale, come all the way back up over to the left. So taking that left hand to the ground. Good. Slide the hands appropriately as you need to on that strap and open up. Pull the chest slightly through and feel that side body lengthening. Beautiful. Maybe you feel tension in the chest, in the shoulder. Maybe it's just the side body. Try to keep tension out of the breath, though. The breath is smooth. On your next inhale, come all the way up. And then let's complete it. Maybe it's possible to take the hands a little bit closer together this time. Again, if you have to fight it to take the arms all the way back, just bring your arms wider. And then let's try to go back. Nice and slow. Oh, big opening with the chest and shoulders. Then inhale to come back up. If it's too much, slide the hands away. And exhale all the way down. Take the strap with your right hand. We're going to bring that arm up over the head. Bend the elbow. Grab hold of the elbow with the opposite hand and then draw back so you're stretching the tricep. And you'd be amazed how tight. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're like, I'm feeling that. It's very tight. But this area gets quite locked. It gets really tight and holds a lot of our tension. So you'll be surprised of how much you can actually feel here sometimes. Good. So this is a beautiful place to stay. If you're really tight and your elbow is way forward, somewhere around here, I would just even work on this and forget about what we're going to do in a moment with the other hand. Just open up that space. Root down into your sit bones, down into your feet. Stay grounded. And then if you do want to progress a little bit further, we're going to take the left hand, the opposite arm, and you're going to wrap it around the lower back. Now you're holding on to the strap. And then see if you can walk your hands up the middle of your back as if you're going to bring your hands together. Now maybe they stop somewhere halfway, or maybe you are able to connect the hands and then pull everything open in back. So what we don't want to do, and what I see often, is that people kind of get into the shape and then just go, oh, and the elbow falls forward. I want you to keep opening. Good. Think of it like a bow and arrow that you're carrying on your back. Keep it open. Good. Take one more deep breath. And then following that theme of the bow and arrow, I want you to release your arms diagonally. So we're going to inhale, separate, release, even drop the strap, open the arms diagonally, open the chest, and then just give yourself a big hug. That right arm is coming on top, wrapping your arms around you, big, big hug. And then let's do the other side. So grabbing that strap again, taking it into the left hand this time. Bend the elbow. It's like you're patting yourself on the back, touching the back of the heart space. And then bringing the right hand to the elbow, sliding that hand back, keeping the chest lifted and open, and try to keep the neck neutral. So if you can, just lean the head back into the forearm a little bit. Stay rooted and grounded. And breathe into that space. Keep lifting the elbow up, and maybe you could even walk the hand back a little bit after a few breaths, after the body releases and softens and gives in for you a little bit more. Now, if it's not releasing and softening, I would just stay here and just work this space open, because this mobility is really important for us. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper into the pose, we're going to release the arm. Coming into Gomukhasana, we're going to take the arms around behind us. Good. Grab hold of that strap, and even if the hand just stays at the lower back, perfect, fine. Or you can walk the hands a little bit closer together, walking up the spine, the central column of the body. Maybe the fingertips meet. I like to say maybe it's just a long distance relationship for a while. Maybe the hands one day will meet. Good. And softening into those shoulders and keeping everything pulling back and opening. The heart wants to still be lifted, so notice if there's any collapsing and sinking that's happening. Nice deep breaths. Beautiful stretch for the shoulders. Take one more breath there. And then you're going to slowly and gently release, remember, into that diagonal. So drop the strap, open up, diagonal arms, and then give yourself a big hug. Left arm comes on top this time. And then just take a little rock, and this rock is really good for releasing the thoracic spine, so any tension or tightness that we're holding there. These little twists, little micro twists. Good, and then just coming to center. Now let's keep the arms wrapped as they are, and we're just going to lift the elbows up. And some of us, if we're really tight in the shoulders, this is going to be stage one. This is going to be where we're going to stop. Just hold here. Maybe you can try to cross the arms a little bit more and try to get your fingertips to touch more of the shoulder blades and that upper back. Or we're going to take the arms up and come into our Garudasana arms, our eagle arms. Good. And here, if I just turn to my side a little bit, if you can get your elbows more in line with your shoulders, you might feel that opening into the back a little bit more. Keeping the neck nice and long, the chest lifted. And sometimes it's nurturing just to let your thumbs come to your forehead. There's a little pressure point there that helps us to access the parasympathetic nervous system, that relaxation response. Or if you want something deeper, more active, take the hands away and try to align them over the wrist. And that's going to open up those muscles and give them a deeper stretch. But I'm going to keep the hands on the forehead tonight, as this is more of a calming practice, more restorative in its nature. Breathe here, a lot of space into that back body. As if you had wings on your back, and every time you breathe in, those wings are opening. One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly release, undo the arms. Notice which one's on top. It's my left. And you're going to open the arms like you're about to give someone a big hug. And give that hug to yourself. Take the right arm on top, crossing at the elbows. And maybe this is all we're going to do. And we're just going to kind of walk those fingertips onto our back. Do you remember when you were younger and you used to do that trick, like you were making out with yourself? It's kind of like that. Good. And you give yourself a smooch. Why not? So stay there if you want, or lift the elbows. And maybe you stay here, or maybe we lift the arms up. And then we're already almost there. It's just that right arm kind of comes forward, and then it wraps around that left arm. Eagle arms, Garudasana. Palms of the hands are facing together, and you can open. So if we were in an active practice, we'd really open and engage the fingers, but here you can just let it be soft. And let's take the thumbs to the forehead if you wish, keeping the elbows lifting and moving slightly forward to open that space in the back of the heart, behind the shoulders. Big, beautiful breaths here. And take one more breath here. And then as you inhale, open up. And we're going to take our hands all the way back behind us, fingertips to the floor, and we're going to lift through the chest. Good. And then soften the chest down. And we're going to come into a little bit more opening for the back of the heart. And we're going to do this so it's graduating into that posture we just did, but in a more restorative fashion. So you're going to need two things, either two blankets or two pillows. And we're going to set them up like this. And if this doesn't work out for you, you can just do what we just did and come into this hug or the eagle arms, okay? So we're going to create that shape on the ground. And this sometimes stretches more of the shoulders as well, but it just opens up the space at the back of the heart. Good. So what I'm going to do is take one of my pillows, it could be a blanket, anything to give you just a little bit of height, and then I'm going to have one for my head. So I'm going to come down onto my belly, and the pillow is keeping my chest lifted. And then I'm going to cross my arms. So I'm going to start with my right arm, and it's going to go all the way across, and I'm going to lie on top of this right arm and shoulder. Then my left arm is going to go across. Let me turn here so you can see what that looks like from above. So my chest comes onto the pillow or blanket. I take my right arm across, and then on top of it, I cross my left arm. Now my toes are tucked under, and I'm going to get my pillow here ready for my forehead. My toes are tucked under, so I'm going to kind of use my toes to just start to push my body weight forward. And I'm going to try to wiggle my arms across to their maximum. The hands are just resting on the ground. And I just keep pushing off my toes until my forehead comes forward, getting the pillow there. And then I'm just going to rest here. Now it's a bit of an awkward one. So again, if it doesn't feel good, just add more props. So sometimes you might just need a little bit more height underneath you and grab another pillow or other props for your forehead. And having more height might just make that a little bit more accessible. So I have two pillows. The pillow is a little bit more comfortable, and it's not such a deep stretch. The closer I am to the ground, the deeper stretch is going to be. Okay, so get yourself into that position with the right arm under and across. We're not going to stay here for too long, just about a minute. And I really want your forehead to be resting on something, so we're not hanging the head into space. And breathing into the back of the heart. And then slowly starting to lift the head. Lift yourself up, undo the arms. And then we're going to go the other way. So the left arm first leads. It's going to be the underneath arm. The right arm comes on top, or just do the opposite if you need to. Walk those arms away. Bring the forehead back down. You keep wiggling the arms as much as they can to the sides. And let's take roughly around 10 deep breaths, slow breaths into the back of the heart. And then slowly coming out of that. Use your hands to press into the ground. Ooh, come all the way back up. And then we're going to move those shoulders for a moment. And then we're going to move into our next position, which is going to just release those shoulders back again. And we're going to need our two props, our two blankets or pillows. And we're just going to go backwards, so we're taking a little bit of a back bend. So I'm going to start by sitting in front. Make sure I have enough space. And you could even have another pillow too to rest your head if you needed it. So I'm going to take my feet to the floor. And because these pillows are quite small, what I'm trying to do is just land over whatever I'm using. Yoga bolsters are perfect too. Trying to land over them so that they're propping me up into a bit of a back bend. Now, if I wanted to take it really deep, I'd let my head fall all the way back to the floor so that there's a nice release for the neck and the throat. And if I didn't want it so deep, I would prop my head up, maybe with a couple of other props. And then here, I'd like you to take your arms wide and open so that we're really opening through the chest, and the shoulders should feel like they're more or less falling off of that prop. Now, keeping your feet to the ground and the sacrum on the floor is going to be a little bit more protective for the lower back, but you might be able to, and it might feel good for you to take the legs straight. Really just check in with what works for your body. And some might even want to take the feet together and let the knees drop open into Baddha Konasana pose. And this is a powerful pose. Very opening posture. And I just want you to feel the expansiveness of it. So breathe into the edges of your body, into the edges of your lungs. Feel how much space is opening in the belly, in the chest, in the heart, in the ribs. And let's use our visualization again. Every time we inhale, I would like you to breathe in that quality of love and compassion. And every time you exhale like a spring clean, let go of any lingering anger, judgment, criticism, any lingering heartache or hurt, rejection, anything that closes the heart, hardens the heart. And breathe in all the love that you are truly surrounded by, all the love that you truly are. Connect with that. with each breath. There's an infinite source all around you. There is this loving energy that is always surrounding you. And there's an infinite source of love always within you. There's an infinite source of love. And keep creating space for that. Letting go of all that we cling to and hold on to, of those knots that are bound here in this heart space. Maybe it's just letting go of any physical knots or physical tension. We don't have to dive into the root of it. The practice always does the work. And when you're ready, then you can dive more deeply into the emotional aspects that we're holding here. And when you're really ready, into the spiritual aspects that are here in the heart center. If you're not ready for all that, just by doing this physical posture, without even thinking about the heart chakra or the heart space, you will too still feel the effects. The effects of opening, of changing our physiology, will have a great effect on your psychology. Notice the physical body for a moment and anything you're feeling, very subtle sensations. Notice that. Maybe you're feeling something in the arms or the hands or in the chest or the belly. One last breath here. And then let's return our knees back to the sky, back into a bent position, feet to the floor. And we're going to very simply just roll off of those props for a moment and remove them all the way so that we can come to lie on our backs, nice and flat. And just taking a moment, either with the knees bent, particularly if you just need a moment to bring neutrality back into the body, or maybe extending the legs and coming into your Shavasana. And perhaps this is where you'll stay for longer. Just let the video run out and stay here for as long as you want, enjoying what you're feeling in the body, enjoying that connection. And whatever that has opened up for you, whatever you're experiencing, linger there longer if you want. Or if you're ready to come out of the practice, we're going to inhale and just stretch the body. Pull the knees into your chest. Stretch the lower back, hugging those thighs into the navel, into the abdomen, knees into the chest, maybe even a little rock from side to side, maybe even a little massage, taking the knees one way and then the other. And we're just going to do a very brief twist to release the spine. So open the arms, drop your knees over to the right, and turn your gaze to the left. Sink there, settle for a moment. Breathe into the left side body. And then bring the knees back up to the sky, over to the left. Turn your head to the right. Relax the shoulders, sink there, settle. then from there, just roll over to your side, staying with the knees to the left, roll over to that left side, slowly come up. And maybe with the eyes closed, just for a moment as you find your seat. Bring your hands back to the heart. Maybe just noticing if there's any difference here. And thank you for your practice. May there always be that warmth of love. May you always remember that it is there, infinitely, both within you and both all around you at all times. Thank you for your practice. Namaste. Thank you.